Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam, and this is Talk with the Titans. On tonight's show, we've got a world-renowned educator, teacher, a philosopher, youth worker, and of course, film director. We've got my brother, Suraj Odekunle, in the building with us, the producer of The Man in the Mirror. Peace to you, King. Peace, peace, peace. So just have to unmute your mic. And of course, if you don't know already, my brother's worked with everybody, a lot of people inside of the conscious community over here in the UK as well as the US. So I'm going to reintroduce my brother again. Peace to you, my brother, Suraj Odekunle.
All right. Peace. Good evening, brothers and sisters. For those in the UK, and obviously I think it's the evening time for most overseas as well. Yes, just would like to introduce myself. My name is Suraj Odekunle. Others know me as Olaboyega Tukumbo, and yeah, I live in London, and I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Love that. Okay, so now, a lot of people, I've given it, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do, actually. I want you, my brother, to give us an overview of everything. Hopefully, we'll have enough time to touch on everything today. So if you can just give us like a quick overview of the topics that you're going to be talking about, let our people know what's going on.
Yeah, basically, I'm going to be touching on basically my foundation. And my foundation is something called The Man in the Mirror, which launched in 2014 as a documentary, which touches on the traumatic issues which we go through as a community, which have been going on for many decades and centuries, such as mental health, sexual, physical abuse, foster care, incarceration, gang crime, the public schooling system, and also it's about my life story of how I overcame adversity, with living within the UK. So that's the foundation, and also I'm going to be touching on basically the state of the community currently within the diaspora, and also I'm going to touch on stuff like self-reflection, traveling, and just loving self. And anything else what sinks in with
Awesome. That sounds great. That sounds fabulous. You know what? I want to get into this. I definitely want to get into this because we're going to be touching on like topics that are real touchy. Topics such as mental illnesses. We're talking about sexual abuse. We're talking about gang culture. I think a lot of us may be able to relate with these things. A lot of these things that we may not be able or feel as though we can actually openly discuss amongst our community, especially in Black, African, Afro-Caribbean, or Afro-American communities. These type of things are kind of taboo and left to the side, where we're not given a voice to express ourselves and the things that are actually troubling us and going on and within our lives. One of my brothers, one of my close friends, most of you lot might know him as the name Mr. Exposed, but he goes by the name Keith Dubé. He recently actually released a documentary on BBC about mental illness and depression, the things that he was going through himself, and actually exposed it to the wider community. And this literally documentary went viral because it's such a large topic that has gone literally swept underneath the carpet. And today, hopefully, we'll be able to touch on these things, and hopefully we can give you some advice or places that you can contact to get any help if anything of these issues actually affecting you or your community or your family members. So my brother, I wanted to know, we're talking about these types of issues here. I don't know, what is your personal journey, growing up as a young African man, a young Nigerian Yoruba man, growing up in areas such as Brixton?
Yeah, well, growing up, I grew up in Brixton in the early 80s, so I'm in my mid 30s now, and the experience, at that time, because I was very young, the experience I had were more, just at the beginning it was joyful, because it was joyful in the sense where, I spent time staying with my immediate family. But at the time, this was my mum, my mum's sister, my aunt, my uncle, and my two cousins. So it was the six of us what lived in a bed, two-bed council, which at that time, a lot of people who were having issues with housing, got cramped up in, council flats, which only had a couple of bedrooms. So, but from my experience, I enjoyed being around, obviously, my cousins and stuff. But also during that time, I had a transition in where I was placed in the foster care system, only because, well, at the time, there was a lot of Nigerians who were placed within the foster care system in the 80s and 70s. So that was quite predominant during that time, and I think, well, not think, but I know that, it was due to a lot of our people with the colonial mindset felt that, placing, their children in this system would obviously help them get a better life, but can also obviously create a hindrance, and a hindrance of identity, where the young person will go through identity crisis, because a lot of the foster carers within that system were mainly Caucasian. There wasn't really that many black carers at the time within the system, due to numerous reasons. But at the time, it was quite challenging, I would say. I'll use that word. I'll use the word challenging, because when you're going through living in an area such as Brixton, which predominantly had many blacks in that area, and going to another place called Brighton, which is the south of England, where it's predominantly mainly Caucasian. It can cause a lot of confusion, as a youngster growing up, because obviously you're just trying to find who you are. So during the 80s, it was very challenging, just going through that situation, because I didn't really see my parents as much. My dad didn't come into the country until I was a few years old, when he was able to get his stay or residency within the United Kingdom. So there was a lot of things.
So how was it growing up in foster care? And what type of household was it? And the people that you was with in foster care?
Well, basically growing up in the foster care system, at the time, if I'm going to be realistic, it was joyful, because as I said, I didn't know better. You can't, when you're at a young age, you're not gonna, when you're seeing these white people around you, you're gonna think that's family. You understand where I'm coming from. So it was still questionable, because this family, which was a married couple, which I stayed with, was in their late 50s at the time, and also they come from like a middle class background. So they were obviously heading towards the pensioner stage, where obviously they felt that, I don't know, I can't really speak for what they was thinking at the time, but what I would say is I wasn't the first child, and I wasn't the last child who entered their home. When I say child, I'm talking about black child, because what they did for a living at that time was foster, black children. So this is just something which they did. In regards to my experience, it was just all innocent and stuff. But my question was, they're white, I got black skin, so You know, that was something which was on my mind for a while, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so growing up in such an, how can I put it, being a foster child of European parentage. I mean, like, your foster parents are European. Growing up in an area that is predominantly European, how did that affect you as a black man in terms of your identity? Did you grow up with having an identity crisis? Did you grow up having I don't know, did it affect you anyhow?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. You know, as I was saying, yes, it definitely went through that, you know, identity crisis, you know, because, you know, if you at that time, I didn't get that education of my African heritage, you know, because I didn't get that education, you know, and you know, didn't have that knowledge, you know. I was more caught into the European system, because obviously I was sent to a private Catholic school where I would study, you know, and also the studies were, when it comes to history, when you're learning about, you know, the Tudors, the Anglo-Saxons and stuff, as well as obviously learning the core subjects like maths, your English, and so forth. But also as a child, I was quite gifted. You know, I was very observant, and I was analytical. Um, so when it came to, I found things like mathematics a major interest, such, and also art and athletics. So I had a few things which I was good at. You know, I was entered in sporting competitions and athletics. I used to be like one of the children in Brighton at the time. I used to do 50-meter sprints. I used to win medals for that. I went to school, when I first started school, I was doing like maths textbooks. I used to finish them in minutes. I used to go home, just, you know, play with jigsaw puzzles, play with Rubik's cubes. You know, I was one of them children which was always questioning things, you know, but at the same time, I had to create that creativity, you know. I had that I was in that fantasy realm, you know, especially when I used to wake up early to watch the early morning cartoons like Cities of Gold and Thundercats. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I was one of those children as well. Thunder, thunder.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So you know what? I wanted to actually ask you whether, as a youth worker, do you think that, depending on a person's demography, they should be educated or dealt with, in a manner that's best suited for them, so to speak. For example, a black child may need to be taught black history. A Chinese child may need to be taught Chinese history, or taught in a way that is much more inclusive and appealing to them as their nature. Do you think that may be the case in order for them to actually thrive in this type of multicultural society?
Well, to be honest, I think it's important for us to learn all histories, you know, because when you learn all histories, then you can overstand the enemy when you learn all histories. But at the same time, you know, it's imperative to learn your own history, you know. And when I mean your own history, it's about not just learning, it's about learning your family tree. You know, that's one thing we should be learning. You know, our heritage, our roots, you know, you know, where in the motherland we came from. You know, I just think it's important. You know, even and I go back to family tree, because a lot of us don't even, you know, stage of, you know, yes, let me go and get a DNA test, but we don't even know who, you know, our great grandma is, you know, or our third cousin or whatever. So I just think it's important, and also it's important to know about your ancestry and that all aspects of the ancestry, and going past slavery, which is important, you know, because a lot of us just stop at the cotton field era, you know, when our history goes back way before then, you know. So it's definitely important, and also for us to, you know, to learn about our native tongues, you know, which you know, I don't speak my native tongue fluently, but you know, I slightly understand it, you know. So even right now, you know, that's what I'm doing, you know, because I think it's as I said, it's imperative, you know, to stand as a pillar amongst your people. So
That's right. That's right. All right. So you know what? Yeah, I want to get into this. I want to actually get into this because before earlier on we was talking about, you know, things such as self reflection and self love and abuse and those types of things here. And what I've kind of noticed, not kind of noticed, what I've definitely noticed is amongst the social community, I see a lot of abuse being flung out. I don't know whether people are actually perceiving it as abuse, but I personally perceive it as abuse. Definitely in the comment sections of YouTube videos, on Facebook, and things like that. And for me, I don't actually find it healthy. I think it's the most unhealthiest thing that is being pushed into our community. And I really think that we need to be able to tackle this, or actually be aware it's going on, because sometimes we may be so unaware of this microaggression that's taking place, but it's actually affecting us internally on a large scale. So I want to know, like, you know, talk to us about abuse, identifying the abuse, or identifying others who may be being abused, and what can we do to deal with the situation? Is there like a step-by-step guide to actually deal with abuse and deal with, you know, bullying, social media bullying, whatever you want to call it?
that's a good question. I've been doing a few live chats recently, and this is more or less because I have an event. I just wanted to put this out there before I forget, because you know my mind is processing so much stuff. So basically, yeah, I've got an event coming up on the 25th of February called "How We Protecting Our Black Youth from Abuse," and you know these are some of the topics we're going to be dealing with. You know, obviously I'm going to be hosting the event. I've got speakers, panel. You know, I've got special guest speaker, panel speakers, and we're also doing like workshops, you know, and interactive sessions with obviously the attendees what attend. So you know, we're going to be talking about different areas of abuse. Lately on my live chats, you know, I've been speaking about, you know, different forms of abuse, such as, you know, social media, bullying, and you know, just the way we deal with ourselves and individually, you know, whether it's from the foods we eat, abusing our bodies, you know, whether it's some drug abuse, you know, some people take you know, whether it's legal or illegal drugs when it comes to abuse. And you know, it's yeah, just how we live, you know, abuse affects us on many different levels. So yes, in going back to your you know, question, which had many questions in one. Yeah, social media, definitely. You know, I see a lot of our brothers and sisters who are passionate, you know, and that passion can come from, you know, what maybe whether it's something we've experienced, but you know, firsthand, whether like maybe if it's domestic violence, or if it's sexual abuse, you know, or emotional abuse, or whether it's, you know, from our ancestry, because no matter what, you know, we all come from a DNA of trauma, no matter what. But what are we doing right now to become the solution for that? You know, because it's all well and good, you know, people in our community pointing fingers, being dissatisfied, but you know, we need to seek therapy. We need to seek, you know, we need to have some sort of therapy, you know, on a spiritual level, you know, mental level. We need therapy, because a lot of our brothers and sisters have not healed, you know. So, and you can tell sometimes, you know, I've studied counseling, and I've studied first level counseling, and obviously I study like childcare and stuff. So you know, I know my bits and pieces. But also, I would say, as a youngster, being a very observant, I always call myself a psychologist. You know, and the reason being is because you know I come from, you know, I deal with people. You know, I deal with people, whether it's within the work field or just dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, when it comes to a stage where we can't admit that we're going through something, then you know, the individual is always going to become problematic. You know, they're always going to become problematic. So when it comes to, you know, posting up posts, you know, directly cussing another individual, you know, cursing them in certain ways, it just sets up that vibration, which is uncomfortable, you know, because at the end of the day, everybody should be able to express themselves freely. You know, it doesn't really, if you ain't, you know, you don't need to add yourself to the person, you know, just, you know, delete the person, block your person. But I think since this whole, you know, online revolution and also this smartphones, it's just caused so many problems. You know, we type up a lot of stuff where words can get misconstrued, you know, and where we think one person said something but maybe saying something else. And that's why having platforms such as this, Titans TV or anything else, is a brilliant platform, because obviously you hear people verbally, like you're hearing me now, you hear people verbally speak. You know, at the end of the day, why can't we have discussions? Why can't we have a discussion? You know, when we start attacking people, you know, that's when, you know, brothers and sisters' backs get, you know, they put their back to the wall, and you know, it creates that lack of trust. You know, and it's just I can talk for days, you know, but you know, I'm sure obviously you've seen it. Even when you go through YouTube comments, I wouldn't be surprised if I come off this and there's a YouTube comment, yo, that brother's too dark, that brother don't know what he's talking about, you know. But what's the point? Does it empower you? Think about it, brother or sister, think about it. You know, at the end of the day, I'm only here trying to share knowledge. You know, I'm trying to empower brothers and sisters. You know, I'm trying to create that platform so I can, you know, reach out to brothers and sisters across the world. And that's what I've done, you know, with the Man in the Mirror documentary. You know, I've had brothers and sisters reach out for me from all different places, like Canada, Las Vegas, North Carolina, Brooklyn, Florida, you know, even in different parts of the UK, Birmingham, London, Milton Keynes, you know. And at the end of the day, I'm a brother who is passionate, you know, and the reason why I'm passionate is because of my experiences suffering from first-hand abuse. You know, I've been sexually abused twice, you know, and you know, those situations caused deep trauma for me. It took a very, very long time for me to overcome these situations, and also going through you know, I went through physical abuse as well. My father was very abusive physically, you know, as I was growing up, and also on the streets. You know, I've seen, you know, brothers, you know, get stabbed, shot. You know, I've seen quite a lot. So yeah.
All right. Wow. 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 Explosive. Absolutely explosive. You know what?
Yeah.
I want to jump back into that in a hot
The
second.
book's not out yet, but the documentary's out. So
Hey, I'm gonna jump back into a hot second. I've got a comment here from my brother Ian AR23. You know, another great channel, please. Actually, furthermore, everybody who's actually tuning right now, I want you to go on to AR23 channel if you can. That's AR, capital AR space 23. He does a lot of speakers corner content as well, and there's a lot of great things with cameras. If you see the drones flying around, different cameras, listen, this is a channel that you need to subscribe to. If you subscribe to me, please hit the subscribe button and check out his channel as well. But he drops here, the comments are reactive with no accountability, so there's no measure. It is almost disposable hate with no reflection and with literally no accountability, just dishing out you know, negativity. So yeah, that's a great point right there. But before we actually go on to that, I actually wanted to just take a little wheel back a little bit for everybody who might be just tuning into us right now, new on Talk with the Titans. Let me just give you a little background of us. You know, Talk with the Titans was literally birthed out of the idea that the intellectual giants, the titans of our community, should have a well-organized platform to present, discuss, and debate critical information affecting our community, proposed by our audience members. Yeah, proposed by you, our community. Our community is inclusive of literally near of everybody. We have people from, you know, Muslim, Christian, Kemetic, African traditionalists, Sikhs, like no matter what your background is, if you love information, if you love to be awoke with consciousness, if you want information that can actually, you know, ignite, and even stimulate you to change yourself, your surroundings, and your world, this channel is for you. There's literally no barriers holding you back to be part of our community. I want to say that from now. There is no barriers holding you back to be part of our community. So yeah, so this is what the channel, or this is what this particular show is about. So, you know, right now we're talking about these critical information, like critical things actually affecting our community, such as mental illnesses, such as gang culture, crime, such as abuse, physical, mental abuse, emotional abuse. We're talking about real life issues that are going on today. But we also do loads of talks on history, philosophy, culture, religion, relationships, you name it. We actually do it here on Talk with the Titans. And that being said, if you like our show and you like what we're doing, please, if it's your first time here with us, hit the subscribe button down below and actually check out the rest of the shows that we do. Hopefully, if I can, I'm going to try my best to actually show you a little later on in the show, different shows that we do. So please subscribe. If not, you already are subscribed and you're loving the information, as I'm sure a lot of you lot are, hit the like button. Just hit the thumbs up button. Let us know that you're loving the information. Let us know that to continue doing what we're doing. We're over here in the UK. It's literally 20 to 1 right now. It's almost 1 o'clock a.m. in the morning, and we're here giving you this information. Of course, we've got our families. Of course, we've got you know, our work to go to, our businesses to go to, etc. in the morning. But we're sacrificing our time, our energy to actually bring you this because we actually care. We care about our community. We care about uplifting our community. We care about sharing information that's actually beneficial and actually impact your life in a positive way. And we actually want you to share this information with other individuals that you believe would actually benefit from the information that's been imparted with you today. So I'm going to ask you, if you're liking it, hit the like button. If you think it's beneficial, please hit the share button and share it with a friend, a family member. Share on your Facebook feeds, your YouTube feeds, whatever the case is, and you know, get involved as well. I'm definitely going to leave a link in the description very soon, so you can join in on the panel to ask any questions or give any comments. If you have any questions affecting, you know, that we've touched on, that what's actually affecting you or people that you know, please ask your question, and hopefully my brother will be able to actually answer it, and I'll try my best as well. Let me just take a little step back as well, and let me just kind of promote a few other people in the UK. We've also got Black Eyes TV. You know, my brother Richie. I don't know if he's here right now, but if you aren't subscribed to his channel, please hit the subscribe button to his channel as well. He does great works in terms of lectures to the community. You know, speaking with people such as Jehuti Ma'at Ra, such as Queen Afua, such as Dr. Umar Johnson, all sorts of people as well over here in the UK. This is UK people, you know, UK bred people doing these great, amazing things. So please support UK family, you know, support us, please. Please, don't just support one. If you know, if we all can make it, let's all make it. Okay. So yeah, let me continue real quickly. I'm just reading some of the comments. A physical being is a feeling, a connection at all time, right? Okay, so I'm just reading some of these comments down here. So let's go. Let's get back into this again. My brother, you touched on something that is, you know what, is very touching. I'm going to put it like this: very touching, very sensitive. And I think a lot of people could possibly benefit from your story if it's possible for you to actually divulge the sensitive information with us, with our community right now. You know, in terms of the different forms of abuse you went through at a young age, and you know, going through that, and also the process that you utilized to journey through it, to fight through it, and get you to where you are today. Is there, can you give us, like, you know, things that have happened, the journey, and the tools you've used to overcome? this type of adversity in your life. And hopefully this could actually help inspire others to do the same thing as well.
Yes, so yeah, as I mentioned, I've been through physical abuse, mental abuse, and sexual abuse. Yeah, gone through all of that, and started at a very young age. You know, I went through sexual abuse. The first time I went sexually abused twice. So the first time I went through sexual abuse was when I was in foster care by the carers, one of the carers' grandchildren. Yeah, and I also went through physical abuse. You know, my father was very aggressive. You know, very aggressive, and he used to take a lot of his frustrations out on his children at the time. And also I've been through the mental abuse. You know, there was a stage in my life, you know, where I was obviously bullied only because, you know, at that time maybe I was a target. You know, there was a time I was quite quiet, but very wise. You know, and it caused a lot of stuff like anxiety. Grew up with anxiety. Didn't really like to be around people, you know, unless I'm giving a talk or or I'm doing some open mic stuff and whatever. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a person which can stand in before you as a pillar because I ain't afraid, and you know, I ain't got nothing to hide. You know, because at the end of the day, as you mentioned, brother, you know, it's about accountability, which a lot of us don't like to do. You know, we like to hide behind the social media world, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You know, what's the other one now? These children, I don't know, but we're trying to stand behind these as keyboard warriors, you know, and go on like, you know, our shit's clean, you know, and no one out there has, you know, it has that, you know, perfection on that level. So yeah, it affected me. It definitely affected me because of it. I went through depression as I was getting older. Went through depression. You know, had like a schizophrenia. You know, it created a lot of traumas, and also I became very self-destructive and obviously problematic. You know, but I wasn't able to see this, you know, until, you know, I was put into check by certain people around me, you know, in life, whether those people were people who loved me or hated me. You know, I was put into check. So, you know, it was just a stepping stone for that transition to move into another realm of greatness.
Wow. So in terms of like, you know, help, were you able to get any help to take you through this?
Well, at the earlier stages, the help which was there for me was, I had different types. I just had life experiences. Certain life experiences became my help. So that, for me, that was a number of things. That was like from having one of our, you know, neighborhood cleaners, one Rastafari, who knew me from like young age, you know, who was always giving me those gems, dropping me them gems, you know, showing that love and appreciation every time I was going to school. This was when I obviously moved back to London and stuff, so I used to have him, you know, every morning. So seeing him was quite refreshing. You know, I had music. You know, when I was young, I got into like creative writing and poetry at a very young age. I was entered in competitions where I do creative writing, you know, and story writing. So that's what it was, a form of therapy. So all of that was just how I used to express myself when I felt I couldn't express myself to nobody else. So that was another thing. Going through a lot of my dad's record collections, from obviously that the Rare Grooves, all the times of Lionel Richie, Bobby Brown, the Nat King Coles and stuff like that. Yeah, that was another form of therapy. Or even, you know, when I started to listen to hip hop in the late '80s, when I listened to like Public Enemy and Tribe Called Quest, you know, that kind of helped lift certain vibrations within me, which just kept me afloat, you know. And even certain just having good friends around you, you know, good friends and my cousins. Like I grew up with my older cousin, you know, and he was quite supportive at the time and stuff. And yeah, those were like my escapisms, you know, for me.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And you know what? There's a lot of, how can I put it? You know, one of the topics that you've highlighted here is traveling, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, racism, xenophobia that's going on, like very much so now. It's very prevalent. It's very much now out in the open. In terms of in the UK, we've had the Brexit. Jamelia recently was actually on Channel 4 talking about, you know, her experience with her daughter on the train, on first class train. You know, we have what's going on over in America as well with Donald Trump, and you know, the
Yeah,
banning
I
of
was reading that.
Muslims. You know, Muslim
Muslims
Muslim.
about, yeah.
Let me put that as Muslim countries and things like that flying into America. So I just want to know, like, how important is travel, you know, in order to actually be accustomed to different cultures and customs and people and races? How important is travel in building you as a human being, a well-rounded human being, a human being who is a citizen of the world? How important is that?
Well, yeah, traveling is very imperative because it helps you learn about how different systems come into play. It helps you understand, you know, the different cultures out there and how they operate. Now, you know, a lot of people, you know, they do a lot of talking, you know, and you know, they feel they know a lot just by maybe what someone else has said or what they hear on social media or whatever, or any propaganda which has been, you know, put out there. But I thought, you know, traveling is a beautiful thing because you get to see the world. It's also a form of therapy, you know, because it can be very therapeutic, you know, going to another country where you might be on holiday for work or whatever, you know, you might be going to see different family members. But I think traveling for me, you know, it opened my mind to um, life, you know, especially, you know, how our brothers and sisters are living in, you know, different places across the world in the different diasporas, you know. And I remember just going to, I talked about one situation. Say I'm Nigerian heritage, and I remember I didn't go to Nigeria for years, and when I went as a grown adult, when I was there in 2009, after coming, you know, going through a depressive state, you know, when I touched down, obviously it wasn't the first time I've been to Africa, but obviously when I touched down, it was also like, you know, a reminder of how rich, you know, how rich our people are. You know, you see people in Africa living next to nothing, but they're very in tune, you know, with some of the resources they make, you know, they can make something they could use things which are small, put them together, you know, they could do, whether it's phones or some sort of cables which can help in this way. And you know, it was crazy, you know. So seeing, like, I went out there and I spent time with my aunt now, who, you know, passed, you know, um let her soul rest in peace. You know, she passed away, and obviously I spent time with my little cousin out there carrying like water on his head, you know. And that's you know, I think a lot of our brothers and sisters in the Western world, we take certain things for granted and stuff. But so I think obviously traveling is very, very important. It's also a way where we can reach out to brothers and sisters and, you know, create good business contacts, you know, and not stay stagnated, because I know, a lot of brothers and sisters may complain, we don't get enough support by people within our community, but only kind of rely or depend upon a certain Nubians in a certain a specific area, where I felt, because I was one of those brothers who used to complain, yo, the black community this, the black community that, but unless you tried every single marketing scheme there is, and have met every single black person in that area, then you can't even come to me with that talk, because as brothers and sisters will support you, if they believe in what you're promoting them, whether it's, they believe they're not going to end up in rashes by applying that shea butter, or if they believe that, sorry, it could be a clown sometimes, but yeah, or if they feel that service is beneficial, but I always feel it's good to reach out to, and seeing where we can be of assistance, because obviously there's certain things we're close-minded to. I used to watch, like, for instance, even go to America, me and you have had discussions about going, US and stuff. And, sometimes when I go and stay with certain brothers and sisters out there, they're kind of, they're giving me the 411, like where I felt like America's this way inclined just be watching TV, and it's not exactly what you see on TV. So, because some of the policies are different. Remember, in places like the States, they have a license for guns. Over here we don't. So, a lot of people are closed minded, or even some of got American people which feel that ask me, wow, is that that many black folk in Britain and stuff like that and stuff, and kind of talking to me about how the job market is out there, and when I'm telling them, like, a lot of people in London on the welfare system, and it's more expensive to live, so it's always good just traveling, because you can learn so much, So what I'm talking about is not even it's a minute, like, one fraction, So I would say, it's good to read upon the country before you travel, and just travel as much as you can, save your shekels, save your shekels. Let's not use excuses. Let's do it.
Indeed. Save your shekels and travel. I love that. You know what? I just want to quickly backtrack once more, because we actually have a question here from the Lamb of God, and it's asked your thoughts basically on why so many people are abused in foster care, if you don't mind.
Why so many people abused in foster care?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. Opportunity. It's funny. You know what it is. Remember, if we're going back to how we were treated by the slave masters, it's like, it's like bringing back that time where they kept certain black folk within their, within the house, where they took who they wanted to kind of have, sexual fantasies, just doing certain sexual things which could arouse them. You understand what I'm saying? So obviously, when a lot of these children are placed in care, it gives them an opportunity to impose that upon a lot of these young children in care, because they have that opportunity to. A lot of parents leave their children in care and may never see them again. Some of the parents may see them once in a while, this, that, and the other, but that is just an opportunity of them. And obviously, everybody, suffers from some form of mental health, but it's no difference from how things were back in the days of slavery, when they practiced certain, sexual practices on our brothers and sisters back then. So this is what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. You know what I've actually done right now is literally posted up the link to actually join us in the panel section. So if you go to the bottom of the description box, or in the description box near the top, actually, there is a link there. So if you want to actually join us right now, ask any questions or give any comments to our brother right now, the link is actually open. The link is open right now to join us and be as interactive as possible with our brother. Because we literally don't have a lot of time left. We're hit the 1 o'clock mark already. So we literally don't have plenty of time due to the fact we started late. But please do join us and ask your questions. I think the question is, why are there less black people adopting black kids than whites? That's for one of our audience members. Another audience says here, are you saying normally moral people doing moral things because of opportunity? Okay, are you saying normal moral people? So are moral people doing immoral things because of opportunity? That's a very good question. I'm going to leave that out there for the audience to ponder in their minds. Are immoral things happening by moral people because there is an opportunity present? For example, and would you be one to do those immoral things if the opportunity was presented to you? That's a very, very, very good question. Let me leave that there in the minds of our audience members to actually ponder over. And again, please, if you want to join us and ask any questions, please do. But my brother, I would love for you to talk to us about, the Man in the Mirror project and self-reflection, because we don't have plenty of time remaining. And I definitely do want you to make sure you hit every single thing that you're going to talk about today.
See if we could keep it concise as possible. Yeah, basically the Man in the Mirror initiative formed through my upbringing and life experiences. Also during the transition of me becoming part of the Black empowerment movement and identifying myself, as just coming more aware of my identity. So we had, I think for me, what was the icing on the cake was between the years of 2011 to 2012, where, in 2011 we had the London riots, where obviously there was a lot of our youth out there who was expressing themselves by rioting, which obviously stems from the Mark Duggan situation, and which obviously created a ripple effect, where obviously a lot of small businesses got broken into, and a lot of buildings, places just getting damaged and so forth. And also during the time, my auntie from Nigeria passed away, which obviously had it had a knock-on effect, where I felt as a brother, I need to do something. I need to do something which is empowering, because at the time I was going through depression and I was going through a stage of being unemployed. So when I think the following year, when I got into, I think 2012, when I got into working with doing youth work, it took me back to a place where, seeing how a lot of our young brothers and sisters was misrepresented and mistreated within the public schooling system, ignited a flame inside me to obviously, write a documentary titled The Man in the Mirror, which basically touches on self-reflection, how I overcame adversity from child to manhood, and also about highlighting and giving people insight about these ongoing traumas. As I mentioned, like mental health, sexual, physical abuse, foster care, incarceration, and also, the public schooling system. So what happened was I ended up, sketching down some ideas of how I wanted the documentary to appear to the general public, and I just put it in motion in 2014, and that's where it launched. It launched September 2014, on my birthday. Hello, are we there?
Yeah, we're there. Okay, all right. So I'm
Yeah.
just reading the comment section over here.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just reading. It's crazy stuff that's going on. Okay. Let me just make sure that everybody is with us. Sorry for that. Okay, for some reason I've seen a lot of people are having difficulties joining us via the link. If you're having difficulties, please message me via Facebook, and hopefully I'll be able to get your email address or something like that to add you to the after or the back chat section of the show if you can't get on live right now. All right. So, brother, do you have any announcements to make?
Do is I just wanted to quickly touch. I don't know how much time we've got, but also on this, I wanted to touch on the self-reflection part quickly. Yeah. So basically, obviously, as people know, like people indulging or grasping the title, the man in the mirror, is not just about what we go through as a community. It's about also self-reflecting, and seeing, just like the Michael Jackson song, being the change you want to see. A lot of our brothers and sisters, as we speak about, pointing the fingers a lot, at any brothers and sisters out there what have made mistakes. It's always about, okay, I'm perfect, but I can point my finger at you because you ain't doing you ain't living up to my expectation, but what are you doing, brother and sister? What impact are you doing, in our community, or for self, or even your families, and this obviously took me to a place where someone as critical and opinionated as myself has to also be able to throw myself, under the bus. So the reason why I do that is because it helps me become a better person than I was yesterday. So I think it's imperative, in order for us to learn and be, and receive that love, we have to be, responsible for our own actions. We have to see how we are being abusive and disrespectful, on social media, whether it's social media, face to face, that how it has an effect on other people. Everybody's not made of metal. People out there do have emotions, whether it's our brothers, whether it's our sisters. A lot of people have gone through things you don't even know which they've gone through. You people out there need to cut people some slack. Yes, you might disagree or whatever with somebody's motives or whatever, but pick up the phone, speak to them directly, send an email to them, message them, have a discussion. Like what's going on these days, a lot of our brothers and sisters do things, and they do things very irrationally, so it's just a disrespect, and it's a disrespect for self. That's why when, and a lot of our people who take leadership in our community within the diaspora, whether it's in Africa, whether it's the Caribbean, US, UK, we need to really be responsible, because all I'm seeing is people doing 2-hour, 3-hour YouTube clips, disrespecting that other person, trying to make the name for themselves, and trying to obviously boot, for them to put themselves on a pedestal. And if you've got an issue, address that person, speak to that person on a level. You know, we need to be more responsible as a people. You know, a lot of us out there who are in our 30s, 40s, and 50s are acting worse than a lot of the teenagers out there. Then we got all the audacity to blame a lot of the teenagers and how they are behaving within our community. You know, so you people need to look in the mirror, because I do that every single day. You know, so sorry, I just wanted to touch. I just wanted to obviously touch on that.
Now you need to preach, my brother. Preach.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. Fire away. Any other questions? I think I touched on the event briefly. What the documentary is about. Obviously, at the moment, you know, we're going through a transition with a new web address. But at this current moment, you can log on to www.seedsofelevationco.uk if you want to find out more about the project, or order our merchandise, whether it's our t-shirts or documentary. I'm wearing one of the t-shirts right now, the Man in the Mirror t-shirts. You know, I am my brother's keeper. We've also got if you can't get onto the website, if you can't get onto that website I've just given you, we will also be
I'm showing them the website right now as we speak.
Yeah,
the website is there. Karen.
We've also the new web address, which will be I think the new web address will be launched in the next 48 hours, and the new web address is going to be www.tmitm-project.com. So the TM stands for the Man in the Mirror Project, because that's the current name for where we are with the Man in the Mirror initiative. So that's what we go by now, the Man in the Mirror Project. So if you can't log on to www.seedsofelevationco.uk, then you can type in www.tmitm-project.com.
And you know what? I'm actually loving the t-shirt section right now. The t-shirt section is crazy. Could you give us like a little run through of the Nubian Code of Conduct?
Yes, the Nubian Code of Conduct was an idea I had, and basically it's just a reminder for those who are looking at the back, you know, whether Nubian or non-Nubian. Let me see, because I should be ashamed. I should remember this offhand. So basically, it's got number 1, be a leader; 2, respect all the Nubian queens; 3, believe in yourself; 4, if I can see that correctly. Hold on, I can't even see that. Number 4. I think, what's 4? Can you see that? Kalam? Can you see number 4? I can't even see number 4. It's so small. Yeah. But well, yeah, I think 5, be self-reliant, educate yourself out of the system. There's a few of them. If you go on the website, you'll see. Anyway. So yeah, we're just updating the website at the moment, because you know, it's a new year, and there's new things which we're introducing to the Man in the Mirror initiative. You know, people can obviously book me for Q&As, whether it's in London or other parts of the UK or even overseas. You know, I'll be doing Q&As, giving like a presentation about abuse and stuff, and also, you know, how it affects our people, where it stems from, and also just giving a brief history about the Man in the Mirror project. We're also launching this year support groups, assisting young black males who have been abused, and also assisting the black family as well. So we're going to be launching that in the summer time. And at the moment, I'm actually in the process of writing a book called The Man in the Mirror, which is coming out at the end of the year.
All right. Now, I apologize, everybody. I was trying to get the image as large as possible, but I failed miserably. For some reason or another. It was simply just scrolling up and up and up and up. And I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
It's a shame on me. I should know. I should know all of them. But, you know, I don't. You know, it's on the back of the t-shirt.
All right. So let me just quickly go. If you just mute your mic real quickly, because I think there's a lot of feedback. Let me just see what's going on here. What I always say is you can't cheat or lie to the mirror. You can't cheat yourself. Be a mirror, basically. Can you truthfully be honest with yourself? Just reading some of the comments here. We have too much hate and division and not alone a lot of love or trust. And yeah. Okay, it says here, has he ever heard of DMT? He sounds like he'd be interested in the topic. So yeah, so these are some of the comments that are pouring in right now. But yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I would love to just make sure that we have a very nice, compact, condensed show. Please, everybody who's tuned in, I would love for you to literally share the show, share it on your Facebook, share it on your Google, share it on your YouTube, share it as much as possible everywhere you possibly can. Please share this show. I believe that this show can be very informative and very helpful for a lot of our viewers out there, our audience members. I also believe that, you know what, if you can actually check out the website as well, because the website has got a lot of powerful information, a lot of, you know, the Man in the Mirrors project aims, you know, a lot of things about the actual project as well. Can show you a trailer of the project as well. There's some very powerful things taking place within inside of the UK community and the things that they're presenting. So please support our brothers and sisters that will be showcased here on Titans TV. My brother, do you have any last words for our audience members before we close out? I'll just wait for you to unmute your mic.
So basically, yeah, and then we've got a brand new trailer, which will be launching within the next 24 hours, which is titled "Breaking the Silence of Abuse Within the Black Community," which is a trailer which has been, you know, just a short trailer worked on recently and stuff, and it's just out there, you know, it's gonna be out there for our brothers and sisters to kind of to view, and just there to promote obviously the project itself, and obviously just to give those remembrance that, you know, we're being attacked on all different levels, you know, and that's why abuse can be quite broad. You know, it's not just sexual abuse or physical abuse. You know, a lot of the abuse we go through now is, you know, it's psychological warfare, you know, with what's going on in regards to obviously the media, the propaganda, and also online. And it, you know, it doesn't help with our brothers and sisters always feeling that they know it all by attacking one another. You understand? You know, I might not agree with certain people's philosophies and stuff like that, but I'm not going to be wasting certain people's energy. At the end of the day, it's about connecting with those brothers and sisters, which will raise that vibration within you, you know, where you can obviously bridge the gap, you know, build bridges, and, you know, create that foundation which would help people within your community, whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually, or economically. You know, you're not obligated to respond. You're not obligated, you know. And at the end of the day, it's about, you know, just have a discussion. You know, things, it's easy. Certain things are easier. You know, we make things so complex. We really make things so complex because everybody's trying to put on a front. You know, we need to chill, relax. You know, love ourselves, you know, align ourselves with my act, you know, be one.
That's right. And that being said, I'm going to thank everybody who's been tuned in with us so far. I've been your host, Kalam L, and you've been watching Talk with the Titans, and we've had our brother Suraj in the building with us. And hopefully, when you actually release the new trailer, when you do your event and so forth, hopefully we can get you back on here as well, to deliver some more information to our people, because this is one of the most realist talks, down to earth talks we've actually had here on Talk with the Titans. So very appreciative for this new perspective, this new look. You're literally the second individual from the UK to actually grace Talk with the Titans this year, and I hope we'll continue like this, and we'll have great shows like this that are not just up in the ears talking about philosophy and religion, but real things that are affecting us right now in terms of abuse, terms of reflection, terms of actually dealing with issues going on, mental issues, other issues that's going on within our communities as well. So I'm grateful to have you on here. And it's been an absolute pleasure, my brother. And we're gonna sign out right now, and hopefully we'll have some more shows coming up soon. So everybody else, peace. I'm signing out right now. Thank you for tuning in to Talk with the Titans.
Likewise. Shout out